You're looking at pictures from Chicago from earlier today where Occupy Chicago protesters gathered outside Bank of America's branches, raising a large Chicago Spring banner and chanting, "Banks got bailed out, we got sold out." Now, three very different groups have come together to make this day possible. I'm talking about the labor community, immigrants' rights groups, and, of course, the Occupy movement. Now, each of these groups has its own mission today, but each didn't necessarily want to really share the stage with one another. Cities' unions, for instance, didn't really want to support a general strike, but were willing to support the message of the 99%. And immigrants' rights groups didn't really want to deal with all the police presence that the Occupy Wall Street movement attracts, because an arrest for undocumented immigrants could certainly mean even deportation. But both groups saw a common goal and an opportunity when it came to today's protest. And joining me now from New York City to discuss these interesting but very important relationships, labor activist and college professor Jackie Disalvo. Jackie, thank you for a few minutes. I appreciate it.
Hi, Rich.
Well, Jackie, let me ask you, if I told you a few years ago that we would see the labor presence that we saw at an Occupy movement, you probably would have told me I was crazy, but 4 years ago the world changed, didn't it?
The economic crisis and the attack on labor that's been going on made the unions very appreciative that they finally had people willing to ally with them. They loved the message of uniting the 99% against the 1%, because the right wing had been acting as though the American people were anti-union and that the conflict was between the taxpayers and the public sector workers, like in Wisconsin.
Jackie, how much has Wisconsin been a rallying cry for the labor movement coast to coast?
I always wanted people to know that the first occupation was a labor occupation in the state capital in Wisconsin. And that enabled the labor movement to see itself as possible partner with a movement based on occupation.
Hey, Jackie, for those who may not remember the 60s, 70s, and or even products of history, just tell people how surreal an image it is seeing guys in hard hats standing next to college kids that, you know, probably in a different generation in the peace movement here. The two wouldn't exactly be sharing the same rally.
Well, it's true that the trade union movement was a different movement then. It was pro-war, and it was fairly hostile to the lifestyle politics of the student and youth movement. But the Occupy kids, they're much younger than me, they basically are working class. They may have grown up middle class, but they can't get jobs. And so they identify with other workers. And the workers who want to send their kids to college are worried about what their fate is going to be when they see these kids and they understand why they're fighting.
Hey, Jackie Disalvo, I appreciate a few minutes. Thank you so much.